we doing, everybody? Happy Sunday to everyone. It is Watch D.A. Live. We've got a paranoid Bill Belichick. We also have a broken recruiting star system and a brand new custom emoji for you, the member DAliens. How are we doing? Thanks so much for joining us. Tonight is a special episode. Aiden Hatton, the Marquette Marvel, is off tonight. Vacation. R&R. Much needed. In his place is the ultimate diaper DAlien. This young man is the youngest crew member ever to work on a DA show-related platform or show. His name is Jack Knight. I'm going to introduce him later, but because of such, we're asking for a little bit of grace here. It might be rocky. It might be perfect. I don't know. But if it is rocky, it's all part of the charm of tonight's Watch DA Live, okay? As always, we want to welcome you as members of the family. If you are a member of the Jedi Council on Watch DA Live or this YouTube channel, you can use all your custom emojis right now. You'll also see in the comments either green or now blue badges. Yes, because blue badges mark 2 months as members. 2 months as members. A few of the early pioneers as members of this family, you'll see, just clicked over to 2 months. The others are green. All right, we'll get to comments. Send them fast and furious all throughout the night. Jack, let's do a little Furious 5. All right, my first story on the Furious 5 is the Bill Belichick story. You're wondering, why is Bill Belichick in the news again and it's July? It has nothing to do this time with Jordan Hudson. No, it's because Bill Belichick is apparently tremendously paranoid. Robert Kraft was a guest on Julian Edelman and Gronk's podcast, and they asked him a series of questions, and a relatively benign answer was he thought his riskiest move as owner of the Patriots was hiring Bill Belichick in 1999. And ultimately, it's kind of hard to argue with that. Bill, you might remember, had been cast away by the Cleveland Browns. Bill had been known as pretty antisocial, dating back to being a defensive coordinator with the Giants. Bill in Cleveland did not end up doing what Art Modell had hoped, which was turn them into a Super Bowl contender. And by the end, it kind of fell apart. Now, to Bill's defense, his final season there was the season in which they moved to Baltimore. And so that was very rocky and very controversial, and the bottom dropped out. But at that point, that was his last head coaching job. He then burrowed back into the bosom of Bill Parcells, went to the Jets for a couple of years to, I guess, rehabilitate his reputation. Parcells resigned, leaving Bill Belichick as the coach in waiting. Belichick didn't take that job and resigned in a napkin, and Kraft had swayed him to make that decision. I would say it was a pretty gutsy play by Robert Kraft because we didn't have the evidence that Bill was a great head coach. Well, Bill has fired back, and as petty as you can make petty, Belichick goes there. He tells ESPN, as I told Robert multiple times through the years, I took a big risk by taking the Patriots job. I already had an opportunity to be the head coach of the Jets, but the ownership was unstable. I had been warned by multiple previous Patriots coaches, as well as other members of other NFL organizations and the media, that the New England job was going to come with many internal obstacles. I made it clear that we would have to change the way the team was managed to regain the previous attained success. I mean, so what is obvious is that there's still bad blood. There's going to be bad blood. Clearly, neither side, Kraft nor Belichick, trust one another. And obviously, they both are still sniping privately and publicly. But when Robert Kraft says, I probably got the most pushback in hiring Bill. To me, that's pretty factual. And I'm not a Robert Kraft stan here. Anybody knows that's been listening to me for a long enough time knows I've thrown plenty of darts at the way of Robert Kraft and the way the Patriots ownership has worked and the ego involved there, and plenty of evidence down the line of Kraft being, annoying in his own right, obnoxious in his own right. But that's a pretty factual statement. A pretty large-sized risk was hiring Bill Belichick and giving him the keys to things. And here comes Bill running up the hill to the media with a megaphone. Let me tell you how much of a risk I took taking the job. It's amazing that people with this much success, men with these accolades, adults with this type of legacy already installed, they've got rings, they've got banners, they've got spots in multiple Hall of Fames. They are legends in New England and Boston forever and ever. They are legends in NFL history forever and ever. And here they are, still like two school children. No, he called me a name. No, he called me a name. No, he took my ball. No, he took the ball first. He's cheating. No, he's cheating. I mean, how pathetic. And for those of us that were driven batty by the Patriots' seemingly unending run of success and the ego that came with that for that franchise, for the participants, with the ego that came with all of the winning, you wondered when, if ever, would they get their comeuppance. And this is just so obvious that karma always comes back around. You just never know when. And the karma is for all the success that Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick had earned and had experienced. They cannot be happy. They cannot be happy. They cannot any longer lord over a manor and just let the love wash over them. Instead, they must snipe. They must criticize. They must defend. And what a paranoia-stricken existence for Bill Belichick. If the moment he hears this, he's got to run to his media colleagues. Oh, let me tell you what really happened. Wow. Babies. Big time babies. All right, next up on the Furious Five, let's talk about the AllStar Game. It happened back on Tuesday, so it might be old news to some of you at this point in time, but ends with a swing-off. The swing-off makes perfect sense to end the AllStar Game because of the image that's etched forever of Bud Selig, hands in the air, shoulders slumped. I don't know what to do. It's a tie game. I guess we're going to have to stop the game. Which ends up being one of the most embarrassing moments in baseball history and one of the most embarrassing moments for any modern-day commissioner. It was a man that had no answers. And it kind of typified how people viewed Bud Selig, even though he was a pretty well-regarded owner before he became commissioner and commissioner amongst the owners. And I think, history beside the steroid era smiles pretty well on Bud Selig. But Selig's prone position, no answers, defines, the criticisms levied against him for many, many years. So instead of that, of wondering how long is too long and what do you do if you run out of pitchers, you don't want to put anybody at risk, you have the swing off. Fine. But the swing off only works when the guys involved in the game want to swing off. And the fact that the American League and Aaron Boone had no Aaron Judge, no Shohei Ohtani, because both men left the ballpark during the game. No Cal Raleigh, because Cal had been removed from the game. and you are left at the end of the game of 9 innings of only the guys that are still on the field for you, active for you, or haven't played, is ludicrous. It's ludicrous. On top of it, one of the best young players of the game, Bobby Witt Jr., said afterwards he would have loved to have the chance. So, Aaron, not sure why you avoided Bobby Witt Jr., but instead, you saw the guys they had lined up there. The AL had no chance. It is amazing. It is mind-numbing to think that Aaron Judge and Shohei, who do everything right, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. They do everything right. It is amazing that those two guys, one in the American League, one in the National League, two of the biggest stars, perhaps the two biggest stars in Major League Baseball, can't be bothered to stick around until the end of the game. It's amazing. Here we had the Philadelphia Phillies griping and kvetching over Miz getting the bid instead of their guys. And number one, their guys declined it. And number two, you've got players that would rather go home in the 4th inning. How significant is the honor of going to the All-Star game? How important is this to be an All-Star if guys in the 4th inning would rather leave the entire stadium to get their vacation on? It's a terrible look for baseball. It's a terrible look. It is obviously an exhibition. So, frankly, we should just treat it as such. But if you want real definition of exhibition, it's when the guys employed to play in the game choose to leave the ballpark early during the game. I mean, come on. And the idea that you could hyperextend something if you're Cal Raleigh, I mean, are we overthinking this here? Baseball wants to put on the spectacle of the swing off, to make it like a home run derby, to make a little drama and to wrap things up quickly. That's fine. All that sounds good. But you got to have buy-in. And the Major League Baseball Players Association, with this tweak to the format, needs to tell the guys in the game, if you're going to get selected, we want you to go to the game, because then if we keep declining it, then there is no significance behind the bid anymore. And number two, if you got to go to the game, if you're going to go to the game and agree to, you got to stick around through 9 innings. I'm sorry, even if it's just in the dugout, hanging out, supporting your guys. Because the idea that we are decided the All-Star game is Aaron Judge is somewhere over North Carolina is ridiculous. Is really, really, truly ridiculous. Let's clean this thing up, baseball, shall we? All right, next up. NFL jerseys, as you know, is really this is my passion. And the Chargers this week unveiled 2 new alts. And this is jersey season. This is alt jersey season. We have multiple NFL teams unveiling these. We had the Commanders last week giving us the Super Bowl era threads. We had the Buccaneers giving us the 1976 orange numeral retro throwbacks. And now we have the Chargers doing something so beautiful and also something so grotesque. On the left, you will see the LaDainian Tomlinson, Drew Brees, Antonio Gates, and before them, your Marion Butts and your 90s tremendous Anthony Miller, tremendous San Diego Chargers unis, the dark navy green, the bolts on the side of the helmet, the bolts on the side of the shoulders. Those things are so nice. Natron means business. The Junior Seau Chargers unis. And they're going to dust them off to bring them back. The Chargers don't ever have a bad uniform era, but those are particularly sweet, aren't they? And so those are coming back. You got to love them. But then they also create a yellow on yellow ensemble, which was inspired by the energy of the Air Coryell era. I've got a better idea for you, San Diego /LA Chargers. just wear the uniforms that the Air Coryell Chargers did. That was the Dan Fouts, Kellen Winslow years. Year 79, 80, 81, 82. Those gorgeous, beautiful uniforms. Usually white tops, the big bolts on the Chargers' shoulders, the blue pants or the yellow pants. Either one will suffice. Those are beautiful. They are spectacular. What this is, yellow top on yellow pants, is just a big, stupid highlighter, which reminds us of the color rush, which reminds us of one of the worst decisions in NFL jersey history. So the Chargers giveth and they taketh away. The beauty of the 90s and 2000s Chargers uniforms, the ones that they went to the 94 Super Bowl in and got smashed by the Niners, but still won the AFC Championship with. Hopefully that'll offset the garish, disgusting yellow on yellow, which never needed to happen because the Chargers already have beautiful uniforms. You don't need to muck it up with purposefully ugly ones. Can we talk a little college football recruiting? Last week, I introduced you to Calvin Russell. If you're not a college football recruiting fan, if you don't follow the message boards, et cetera, the recruiting rankings, if you're not a Syracuse fan, you didn't know that Calvin Russell was a 5-star kid that committed to Fran Brown at Syracuse and could be the highest rated recruit ever for Syracuse football, a program that has had the lineage of Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, Art Monk, John Mackey, Larry Zonka, Donovan McNabb, Marvin Harrison, and Dwight Freeney. Could be the highest ranked recruit ever. Well, guess what? No, he can't. Can't anymore. Because interestingly, 10 days after Calvin Russell committed to the Syracuse Orange, which was a huge coup for the Orange football program, obviously, his ranking suddenly dropped. Calvin Russell's ranking suddenly went from 5 stars to 4 stars. Syracuse has had 4-star kids before. There's plenty of 4-star kids that still have decisions to make, and 4 stars doesn't mean as much as 5 stars, as you might imagine. But why? Why in the middle of July would a young man's recruiting ranking drop from 5 stars to 4 stars? It's funny because it also happened as well this week. As Felix Ojo, a 5-star offensive lineman, committed to Texas Tech. And then suddenly, strangely, days later after committing to Texas Tech, Ojo drops from a 5-star to a 4-star. Now, unless these two young men are playing in some football league that we don't even know about in the middle of July, perhaps they're going through blocking techniques or running receiving routes at a local high school, and there's the rivals recruiting gurus in the bushes with binoculars. Unless these young men are completely looking like fools somehow in the middle of July, the reason the rankings have dropped from 5 to 4 for a young player that committed to Syracuse, another one that went to Texas Tech, is actually because of where they committed to. Yes, this is the shell game. So, does Georgia have some of the best talent in America? Of course. Does Ohio State collect some of the greatest talent in high school football? Yes. Does Alabama, and did Alabama throughout the Nick Saban years, just collect 5 stars like a kid on Halloween throwing Zag Nuts and Charleston Chews and Three Musketeers into his bag? Hell yeah. But they are 5 stars when they commit to Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State because, well, those 3 schools, amongst others, are supposed to get the best talent. The next tier of schools like Syracuse and Texas Tech are not. They're not supposed to get those kids. And so thus, as the rankings shift, these recruiting experts say, well, if you've committed to Syracuse or Texas Tech, then you must not be as good as we thought, and a kid that commits to Alabama must be the 5-star. Isn't that interesting how that works? Because had Calvin Russell or Felix Ojo committed to Michigan, committed to Texas, they would have remained 5 stars. It would have validated the ranking. So just remember that the next time you are assessing the best classes in America, of course, the Georgias, Alabamas, Ohio States, Texases, they are always going to have most of the best talent. But also remember how unfair and ridiculous this is when a kid bypasses those schools to go somewhere else and gets docked in the recruiting rankings because of it. What a joke. Finally, I just want to talk about journalism and sports journalism for a second. My background is with a broadcast journalism degree from the Newhouse School of Communications at Syracuse University. So journalism will always mean something to me. It is the bedrock, the foundation of my education, of my career. Now, I am under no delusions that what I do is journalism every day. The way I approach my show is to try to show you the facts and then give you my opinion on the facts. That's the way my brain works when I present a story. If you listen to my radio show, watch this YouTube show, watch any of the YouTube clips on this channel, you will see me usually present the facts, what happened, the events, the situation, the names, the personalities, and then say, and here's my take on things. I am not one to be digging into research and getting quotes and providing something as a two-dimensional object. I also add my opinion and, of course, character and personality and wackiness, etc., as the entertainment value to it. But I really feel strongly that the journalism part of what we do in sports media and who we are as consumers of sports media is vital. And those things are going away because they just don't make as much money as the entertainment part of it does anymore. And as newspapers have been stripped to the bone, and as local news has been stripped to the bone, and as some radio stations have been stripped down to the bone, you will routinely get less and less and less and less journalism because there's less resources to dedicate to the stuff that doesn't move the needle, right? The stuff that takes a long time, the stuff that takes work, the stuff that isn't splashy, catch ya, get your attention. But it is of extreme importance that we look for that in sports media, that we still value that in sports media. And Pablo Torre is a good example of this. Pablo has a podcast called Pablo Torre Finds Out. He has a bedrock of journalism behind what he does. He worked as a fact checker for Sports Illustrated. He was a writer for Sports Illustrated. So he is one of those in the weeds guys with facts and double checking resources and all these types of things that you need to do to make sure you get the story right. He also, of course, colors lots of what he does with personality, because in today's day and age, you have to do a little bit of that to bring you in for some of the boring stuff as well. Well, his podcast on the NFLPA and the collusion case made major waves over the last couple of weeks, but would it amount to anything? Well, this week we see two members of the NFLPA both resign. And this is very significant, okay? This is very significant because these guys would not have done this unless Pablo Torre did his job. And Lloyd Howell and J.C. Tretter were at the top of a players' association that got a very favorable amount of evidence that the NFL owners were colluding to keep down guaranteed contracts after Deshaun Watson's deal. And they didn't tell their constituency. They did not tell the union. They wanted it to go away. They wanted it to go away because there was too much internally that they didn't want out, that they didn't do, or they did do on the Players Association side of things as leaders. And they thought, you know what? We're not even going to tell our union, the players themselves, about what was dug up, about what the owners said or did not say, about what we found as evidence to collusion. We won't even let them know about this because we don't want the other stuff that was found out about us to be made public to them. So they hid. They hid their information from their constituents. And now, once Pablo Torre dug and Mike Florio dug into this and exposed what the union didn't even know, what the players didn't even know, the rank and file didn't even know, suddenly the heat was so hot on these two guys, they had to bounce. This is not just about, as a consumer, caring about sports journalism or journalism in general. This is about, as employees, as citizens, caring that somebody is digging to uncover what you may need to know. And I think about all those players in the NFL that should have always known the ugliness of what the NFL owners tried to do and tried to manipulate, or at least would want to know, right? I mean, if you were part of a union, you would want to know that your CEOs or your owners of your company were trying to hide or do this or do that. You'd want to at least know that if that was dug up. Their own union wasn't going to tell them unless Pablo Torre and his bank of fact checkers and journalists, etc., to put together a podcast, dug and dug deep. And Mike Florio confirmed and dug deep. It's amazing. These two guys would still be at the head of this union. These two guys would be swimming fine. These two guys would be working hand in hand. These two guys would be making sure the people in power stay in power because you know what is more comfortable at the top, and we don't need any of the heat. So you know what? We don't want them knowing anything about this. Our own constituents who pay our salaries as the Players Association union leaders. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. But that's what it takes. That's what it takes. It takes somebody to do the dirty work. And if you listen to this podcast, it's dense. It's deep. And I listened to it and I was like, there's a lot here, a lot of moving parts. This is a lot to digest. And probably a lot of people tune out after 7 minutes of this. But it's so valuable. And it was so valuable that those two guys got pushed out, forced to resign because the heat got too hot. And they deserve to get pushed out because they didn't do right by their own constituents who they are employed to protect. And thankfully, the players got the real story to then make a decision about better leadership and not a lot of, boys club slapping each other on the back, making sure those in power stay in power. Yikes. All right, that's the Furious Five. I wanted to, as always, let you guys know, everything that comes to us on this Sunday night show is amazing. All the DAliens that congregate in the comment section is just awesome. It really is. It makes my week. It makes Aiden's week. It makes us just so excited to see you guys comment and be excited about the show and join the party and add your commentary and be one with the channel. And then there's a next layer of commitment. That's the members. That's the Jedi Council. For the price of less than a chicken sandwich, you get videos for members only. When I do a Q&A long-form conversation, I then do a deep dive about that, which is for members only. And once a month, we do the members-only live chats, right? And that next one's going to come up on August the 8th, 8/8. Okay, we did the last one on 7/7, July 7th. We'll do the next one on August the 8th. That's a members-only live chat. You can ask anything you want, and we just go into the weeds on everything. And last week, or last month when we did it, we talked about my exit from CBS Sports Radio. We talked about my philosophy on the radio, my philosophy on taking calls. We talked about a lot of the inner workings, a lot of inside baseball stuff We talked about how I grew out my hair, why I grew out my hair, all this very interesting behind the scenes type stuff. So we'll do that again once a month for the Ask DA Anything. But also, as being a member means you have your own custom emojis, and you guys can rock with making tacos, cinnamon berry. You've got Morty D'Souza and Stunned to a News. You've got Rosie the Cat and so much more. And now what YouTube says is as you build more members, you get more gadgets. And so now we've been gifted a new gadget, which is a custom emoji, another custom emoji. And so last week we had Babito Garcia on. Babito's awesome, hip-hop legend, street basketball legend, and he's just got like a way with words. And he, by the way, he dropped a book on Amazon, and it ranked number 3 on the charts this week. And he was our guest last week on Q&DA. So he sent me this awesome message like, man, I just want to thank you. You know, we debuted at number 3. Couldn't have done it without you. You know, you were part of the success. I was like, man, that is so nice of you. Well, Babito, when he came on, and he's got this amazing slang, this amazing verbiage, he goes, wow, you know, this is fortified with vitamins and minerals. This show is fortified with vitamins and minerals. I thought that is such a cool saying, that this show is fortified with vitamins and minerals. So this week's custom emoji, Jack, throw it up there for him. We've got Super DA fortified with vitamins and minerals. There you go. We now have a superhero emoji. Jack, throw that back up there just so we can see all of the galaxy of emojis. There's cinnamon berry in there. There's bears with tails in there. Rose the cat, Fisher the clown. All these you can use at your disposal as you wish in the chat if you're a member. So as we've added members, YouTube's like, hey, you know what? More gadgets, more emojis, more of this, more of that. And if you're a member, you also get a permanent discount on the merch store at watchdastore.com, permanent discount. So go there, and when you go there and you sign up as a member, you always have that. I unveil the merch discount in the members only videos, so you'll find them there. So sign up, baby. Come on in. Visit the merch store, become part of the Jedi Council, and be part of the member experience, because you then get to dictate terms. Let me know what you want, who you want me to interview, what new custom emojis you like. You get the badges. They're all color-coded. Right now we got blues and greens. Blues are 1-month members. Greens are 2-month members. You got to love all of it. It's all there. Be one with the channel. Thank you, everybody. It's been great. What a great run so far as Watch DA as a channel, and then also with the members and this show specifically on Sunday nights. One thing we did last summer was Exhale Cocktails. And I thought, this feels like an Exhale Cocktail part of the summer, does it not? It's like now the real dog days. I guess it was because we hit this week with just the AllStar Game in Major League Baseball and just the Home Run Derby. So it just, you know, ESPYs, it just kind of, we were languishing here, lazy river type days of the summer, waiting for training camps to open up, etc. And I thought, this is kind of the perfect time to insert the Exhale Cocktails. And so here was my Exhale Cocktail from this week. On Friday night, I headed out to Citi Field in Queens to see my beloved Mets take on the Cincinnati Reds, and I got myself a Montauk Summer Ale Tall Boy. Oh, is this delicious. Now, these are the DA seats. I've got a 20-game package over at Citi Field, and what I've done is I've moved almost every year to try to get a better seat, because it's always based on seniority. So once upon a time, when I first had my season tickets, it was probably 2016, I think. I think it was the year after they went to the World Series. 16 or 17 was my first year, I believe. And 20-game package. And so I sat up above first base. Really cool. It was like on the railing overlooking first base on the upper level deck. So first row of the upper level. Really cool seats. But I thought, The party is down low. The party's always down low, down near the Apple in center field. Let me see. So I went down to the app. I went down toward the Apple, and this is like left of the Apple is like left field bleachers. Lower level, all the food's out behind the Apple in center field in the concourse. And I thought, let me get in here. And I started like 20 rows from the railing. Then, if somebody doesn't renew their tickets or somebody dies or something, you can move up a row, move up 2 rows, move up 3 rows. I'm finally at the third row from the rail. And that's these seats right here. And they're phenomenal. They're absolutely phenomenal. Guys throw the ball up from center field. You could catch home runs as well. Now, there's a party deck in front of the railing, so they catch more home runs, but you still get some bombs hit towards you. It's unbelievable. This is only my third game of the summer. I don't go to as many games anymore because of AJ, etc. But this was a night. It was the perfect night to be out of the ballpark. Aside from the final score, Reds win. Ate a bunch of food. They have this fried egg roll thing where they have a different egg roll based on the opponent. So this homestands egg roll is a Skyline chili egg roll because the Reds were in town. So they put spaghetti and chili and cheese inside an egg roll. It was all right. But then I had some other stuff. There was some tacos. We just had a ball. So this was my exhale cocktail. I had such a good night on Friday night. I also want to give you an international exhale cocktail. One of my close friends from going to college, Mark, Mark Devon, actually became a sports writer out of college. He is in Greece. He's on a Greece vacation. And Mark sent me this as the exhale cocktail. I thought this was so awesome. Jack, throw this thing up right now because the next exhale cocktail is my buddy Mark getting his morning coffee on the railing of the Mediterranean with the DA show koozie. This is from last summer's Watch D.A. invasion in Oakland. How cool is that? That was done by the last dive bar, and Mark got one. Mark was out there in Oakland. He's a Bay Area guy. He lives out there these days in Sacramento. He came down for it. So cool. And so there you go. You have on the shores of Greece on the water in Crete, you have the DA show, Watch DA Live. The channel here is being repped. How freaking awesome is that? Love it. And so, the rest of the summer, guys, send me your exhale cocktails. Hit me up on Twitter at Damon Amendo, on Instagram at Damon Amendo. Let me know what you're drinking, how you're exhaling, and we'll throw them up. We'll post them here on Watch DA Live and get a good collection to see what you guys are drinking and how you're spending your weekends and your summer weeks, okay? So that's that. I wanted to take a moment to introduce the youngest member ever of the DA Show family. His name is Jack Knight, and Jack is a freshman, an incoming freshman to Syracuse. He just graduated high school in the Boston area, and Jack, being extremely ambitious, reached out to me, knew that, I graduated from Syracuse, and he knew that I ran a Syracuse website, the Orange Fizz. He said, hey, is there any way before I get on campus I can be involved with something? I want to get some experience. I don't want to twiddle my thumbs this summer. You know me. This is the type of guy I was. I was always looking to be productive and to build some type of experience. I was dying to do something. Dying. So I said, man, I got work if you want to work. I got a lot of work if you want to work. So Jack was like, I'm all in. Jack has written some stories for me, phenomenal. He's done some great stuff on social media for me. And now, Aiden out today, Jack is running tonight's show. We've never had an 18-year-old diaper DAlien. They've always been currently enrolled in college or youngsters in the business in their 20s. 18 years old, phenom, Jack Knight, a diaper DAlien in every sense of the word, is your executive producer tonight. Jack, come on aboard, buddy. Let's see you here. Let's go full screen, my man. I love this. Great job. You're doing a great job. Can I hear you? Do we got your mic on?
We do.
Okay.
It is a monsoon outside my house right now. Happy to be with you. 328 guests tonight. Clap it up for that. Thank you for spending your night here. Ton of great comments.
Okay, so first of all, what high school did you graduate from in the Boston area?
So I graduated from St. Sebastian's in Needham, Massachusetts. Heading to Syracuse, saw a lot of Syracuse comments.
Okay. All right, very good. So you jumped in 2 feet tonight, in for 8, and everything going okay first half of the show?
So far, so great. Nice lineup, Boston stuff. Bill Belichick, always love it. Calvin Russell, keeping me entertained.
All right, very good. So I wanted you to pick out one comment tonight in the first half of the show that you loved, you wanted to highlight, you wanted me to tackle. So what's the comment?
Well, today it's going to be from Bendozo, and I was telling you how much I get fired up about recruiting. Aiden today, the Marquette Marvel, he's out of action looking for the missing stars. And he's going to find those by these guys if they end up committing to bigger schools.
This is what, I know this riles you up. You texted me about this the other day. You're like, well, this is the thing that I'm most passionate about. What is going on when guys are 5 stars and they drop to 4 stars within the middle of the summer?
So my personal take is that, maybe you're right. Maybe there is a secret football league that we don't know about. These guys having 4th of July cookouts and they're getting burned by their uncles. But I think it's these powerhouse schools, your Michigans, USCs, Alabama. It's their way of combating NIL, combating active fan bases, active alumni to even the playing field.
It's something that is like the weird underbelly of recruiting. And obviously recruiting doesn't define everything, but it is funny that these types of things happen under cover of night and nobody ever really digs into it. It's just accepted. Oh, I guess this guy's a 4-star now. Just it is what it is.
Well, for everyone on Twitter and for everyone in the comments getting upset at rivals, they are being acquired by On3. So,
Okay. Jack, job well done, buddy, tonight. We got a few more minutes to go here before we get out of here, about 15 minutes, but you're doing a great job. I love your hustle. I love your heart. I know the listeners love it as well. The DAliens, you got your back. You got some comments coming in welcoming you to the family. Diaper DAlien, great job, buddy.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Here's some other comments I wanted to get to. We got Steve in Philadelphia. DA, hope you're having a great weekend. Steve-O, I absolutely am. Like I said, Friday night was Citi Field. Then yesterday, pool party, which was awesome. One of my buddies from high school threw a pool party at his house. So we got to go there, eat food, hang out in the pool, had a few cocktails, and then and that was great. And then today, been hanging out with AJ today and just kind of kicking it around the house. Lazy Sunday around here. So it's been a very good weekend of the summer. I appreciate you checking in. And Steve in Philadelphia, awesome. He found the show when I moved over to Sirius XM. He's been a long-time Mad Dog Sports Radio listener. I saw him at the Bab Bash. The guy had an ice-cold blue light for me every single time I needed one. It was at the bottom of his cooler. It's like, I got them for you, and they were the iciest at the bottom of the cooler. I said, you are my man. You are my man. So I appreciate that very much. Also, you got Matthew saying, beam me aboard that sweet mothership. I was just listening to Parliament Funkadelic a week ago, maybe. I think it's last weekend. And I thought, a lot of people don't realize that the mothership comes from Parliament Funkadelic. George Clinton, Bootsy Collins, the most famous, greatest funk band of all time. They used to have a giant spaceship land on stage, and they invited everybody aboard. They said, the mothership has connected, welcome aboard, to party. And I love old school funk. And I just thought that was the coolest metaphor for just inviting everybody aboard. Just everybody's invited to the party. And I just thought that metaphor resonated with me. So that's where it came from. And the Mothership Connection is a song you can download or stream from Parliament. And if you listen to it, it's just amazing. It's just like the coolest, zaniest, most eccentric, vibiest, flyest song. You got to listen to it. if you ever want to just kind of float away on like good vibes, that's the song for you, which is why I obviously love it. So there you go. Moist Pork asks, did Jack know what he was getting into? That's a good question. I don't know if he knew I was going to throw him right into the fire this quickly, but Jack's still a month away from getting on campus, and I got him cutting social media videos. He has cut some of the videos I have posted on Instagram and on YouTube Shorts. He shadowed last week when Aiden was in this show. He's already executing today's show. We got plenty more. Don't ever ask me, do you need any help? Because I always need help. I got a million things I got going on. I can always use help. So there you go. It's as he knows, I will make sure we keep you busy. Okay, we will make sure we keep you busy as always. Let's see. We got looks like Brilliant Hoop says, is Bill wrong? It was gutsy for each guy, DA. I think that's fair to say, although I think it's unbecoming for Bill Belichick to run to the nearest microphone to yell about how is also a risk for him. You know, because I didn't think that when Robert Kraft said what he said, it was supposed to be pointed. I think it was, you know, kind of a conversational answer. Like, now, beneath the surface, clearly Robert Kraft doesn't like Bill and Bill doesn't like Robert Kraft, and I'm not saying that Robert Kraft is innocent there. I just think when you are an icon like Bill, to be like constantly defending your legacy, you know, I just think it's like small, and I think Bill has unfortunately become small in many ways. And I think the Jordan Hudson thing is part of that. I think the fact that he can't get hired to the NFL is part of that. I think that he's going to North Carolina is part of that. It's like a middle-of-the-road job and a bottom, you know, one of the lesser Power 5 conferences, Power 4 conferences. It's just like now Bill is, it feels like Bill is scraping for breadcrumbs these days. And that is, you know, a very bizarre place for one of the greatest coaches ever to be. I wanted to give a shout out to Randy Trask, by the way, Randy and the Traskers, because I'm still eating his no-bake cookies. If you came out to Bob's Bar or the Bad Bash as well, there's been these no-bake cookies that is Randy's passion project. And Randy is a DAlien Hall of Famer. He's a member of the Jedi Council. This guy, he just is. He's one of the greatest dudes I've ever met, and his passion, besides music, is no-bake cookies. So he gave me a bunch of these individually wrapped no-bake cookies, and I'm still noshing on them from Bob's Bar, which was nearly a month ago. They're still delicious. And I guess that's the key to the no-bake, is that if you fresh baked a cookie, it's only good for a short amount of time, but the no-bake, these things are nice. Kristen in Buffalo, we are feeling good and doing well, which is what I need to hear, because as we all know, Kristen is pregnant, and we want to make sure she's feeling good and doing well. I got to think we're probably 5 months pregnant now, if my math is correct, something like that. So we've turned the corner. We're turning the corner from second trimester towards third trimester. For the Bourbon Bell, second trimester was the hard one. That was the hardest one. Third one actually became a little easier. So we love you, Kristen. Can't wait to see the little guy when he's here, but it's going to be phenomenal when we have the youngest diaper DAlien who is out of the womb with a DAlien Hall of Fame jacket to be delivered into. Like, I imagine the nurse, the doctor, the midwife, what have you, the doula is going to be there with the gold jacket, and you know, you'll have that to just wrap the baby in immediately, right? Drunkle Sam, the players pay their respect to the AllStar Game and get the heck out. Leave the private jet running. Exactly. Leave the thing running. That's basically what is going on at the AllStar Game. I mean, yikes. We got a comment, which vintage jerseys and DA are synonymous. That is absolutely correct. There's nothing I am more passionate about than grass fields and throwback jerseys. And so there you go. That's two of my most beautiful things. You have Randy saying the dark Chargers jerseys are when the Chargers got tough again. There was a part of like the 80s, mid to late 80s, where there's still the Fouts years and it's white jerseys at home and they're pretty bad for all those years. And then they turn the corner in the 90s when Junior Seau is drafted. And that's like 91, 92. And then Seau is like the centerpiece of that team. And that's when they became a perennial playoff team. Stan Humphries was the quarterback that brought them to the Super Bowl, of course, which is so weird. But like, yeah, you got Marion Butts and Natron Means and all those guys. And they had a nice defense and Seau, et cetera. So those are beautiful, those uniforms. I love the fact that they are bringing it to the forefront again. Another comment coming in here as we continue to rock through all the comments, and we appreciate everybody throwing them up there. This is from RemFan170. Used to fall asleep to the NFL Top 10 series, and then to learn you had a program a few weeks ago, I was psyched. Well, I'm glad that you found us. And it's funny, you know, a lot of people just, whether you follow me on social media, you might see a live, somebody go live on YouTube, and then it's like, let me click over there. Or maybe you hear me mentioned on Sirius XM. We have only scratched the surface of people even knowing we're doing this. We're only 18 months in. So that's what's really exciting. And football season number 2. Last year's football season was just awesome. But I'll tell you, this football season, we got the people that, you know, want to come back because they did it last year and they loved it. We got new folks on the horn saying, I saw what you did last year. I want to be part of it this year. We are lining up an epic guest list for this year's Watch D.A. live on Sunday nights, the Sunday Pig Pile. And I think you guys are going to be really happy with it. And look, we're basically, a football month away from college football's week 0, maybe even less. So you got to love it. I am so fired up for it. And I'll tell you what, we are going to rock the house for football season. This is a fair question as we talk about the Ask DA Anything on the 778899. Looking ahead, are you really going to be doing one of those on New Year's Day? I've got to see how New Year's Day looks. I'm guessing I'm not working New Year's Day, but I don't know what the family's doing. If we can do it, I'd love to do it. But if there's also playoff games, big bowl games that get in the way, I don't want to take away from that from you guys either. We all want to watch them. So maybe in that case, it's a January 2nd. I just got to look at the calendar. But for the time being, we're going to do the Ask DA Anythings on 778899, etc. I don't know why we're talking about chicken sandwiches in the comments, but I love it. Wendys spicy chicken sandwich, number 6 combo is top notch. You know, one of the things that I got for the crew was for Christmas, I got them all the Wendys free Frosty keychain. This keychain tab comes available right around Christmas. They have it, I think, through January to buy. And you buy it, and it's only $3. $3. And it all goes to the Wendy's Dave's charity, I think, for children. So what a value. And that little keychain tab for $3 right around Christmas gives you a free Frosty with a purchase every day the rest of the year. It's unbelievable. I'm probably 5-6 Frosties in, which is only like one a month. I probably should get more than that. But out of everything that I've gotten the crew, I always get them Christmas presents at the end of the year as a thank you, wherever I've worked, etc. The biggest reaction I've ever got was handing those out this year, the first year I did it, the Wendy's free Frosty tab. Unbelievable. You know, it's just it's the simple things. We've got exhale cocktails. Randy has inhale cocktails. I wonder what that means. Cigar City Capo says we need a chocolate chip poop to commemorate the time Mraz ate his dog. That's one idea for an emoji. Chocolate chip poop. Mraz once ate his dog's poop because Mraz was eating M&Ms or something. No, something with chocolate chips in it. Oh, chocolate chip granola bar. That's what it was. A chocolate chip granola bar. then he looked down on the ground. He's had a couple of Pomeranians in the last decade or so. I think Pomeranian's now a Pomsky. I think Eli's a Pomsky, but these little fluffy dogs. Dogs can't eat chocolate, especially little dogs. And so he saw what he thought was one of the chocolate chips that had fallen off his granola bar. And to save the dog, he scooped it up and he popped it in his mouth. Upon eating it, he realized that was no chocolate chip. That was the Pomeranian's poop. He'd eaten his dog's poop. Genius. So that goes down in history. He saved his dog's life unknowingly by eating his poop. What we never realized was, why did you have to eat the chocolate chip instead of just grabbing it and throwing it in the garbage can? He couldn't really explain that one. Kristen in Buffalo suggests a Wizard of Odds emoji. Okay. I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. By the way, brand new member, Moshi Bahar. Haran. I hope I pronounced that right. Congratulations. You have now entered the Jedi Council, and I think you will enjoy your time here. The company is great. The emojis are great. The fun is next level. And you are privy to all the member-exclusive content, including Ask DA Anything. All right. Thank you for coming in. That's awesome. Love getting those here. Love, love, love it. A lot of cool welcomes to Jack, and I appreciate you guys because I knew you'd make him feel happy and make him feel comfortable and slightly intimidating. High school kid jumping in here and trying to run a show for the first time ever, and we did a dry walkthrough earlier today, and I said, Jack, I want you to know something. If you mess up, don't beat yourself up. I know you care about this, but if it's rough around the edges, that's part of the charm. I said, the audience is going to welcome you. They're awesome. The DAliens are just awesome people, and you will create a bond with them quickly. Do not worry about being perfect because it's not about that. And he said, I appreciate that, DA. He goes, because I love coaching. I love getting coaching, but I'm going to do my best. I think we're going to do a great show, but I love getting coached. I mean, best dude. So it's intimidating, but he's got a heart of gold, and I just think he's going to be a star. And I'm loving the fact that he wanted to jump in full go tonight, and you guys are supporting him, right? Supporting him big time. Never eat the fruit in the jungle juice tubs. That's a very good piece of advice from Psych Mamter. Very, very good. B Squared, I like this, saying, damn, Jack is already going to fit in. You got that right. Jack's fitting in real well around these parts. He's already ripping, crazy things like all types of recruiting nonsense. B Squared also says the Wizard of Oz emoji really would have to be a whiz-wagon emoji. B Squared is my man from Kansas City. He's been listening. We started in KC back in 2003, so that's 22 years ago. I'm sure he's been off and on because I went to Miami, I went to Boston, then I resurfaced for him in Kansas City on CBS Sports Radio. But what we used to do in KC was to Wizards games, Kansas City Wizards games, who are now Sporting KC of MLS, took a bus and got everybody over to Arrowhead Stadium. Yes, now they have this awesome soccer-specific stadium that if you ever have a chance to roll through KC, Arrowhead is unbelievable for football. It is a spiritual experience. Kauffman's really cool for baseball. It's a baseball-only ballpark. You got the fountains. But Sporting KC's soccer stadium is unbelievable. It's out near the Speedway where they have, the Kansas City NASCAR race at Kansas Motor Speedway. The Sporting KC's stadium is freaking awesome. And it seats the perfect amount of people, probably seats 20,000 people. It's always sold out. It's amazing. We used to go to a 75,000 seat football stadium when there were 15,000 people there. And we brought a bus and we brought scarves and chanted and drank and ate and just, it was hysterical. It was fun. So talk about going back. B Squared goes back so far. He goes back to a team that doesn't exist with me anymore. The Kansas City Wizards, when they used to play at the home of the Chiefs. So you got to love that. That's what I'm talking about. And this is a great quote from Bendozo. What NIL deal did Jack get from DA? Well, He got some DA swag coming to him, okay? By the way, the merch store has this beautiful pint glass for your summer. Would you not want an icy treat right here with this? We had to grease his palms with a merch deal, okay? That's pretty good. Get your pint glass, get your T-shirts, get your tank tops, get your everything. Go into watchdastore.com. All right? The comments have been phenomenal. Thank you, everybody, for chiming in. I love you guys. You know that. And I wanted to give you your moment of sports zen tonight before we get out of here. Today, July the 20th, marks the 49th anniversary of Hank Aaron's final home run. He hit number 755 on this date in 1976, his final home run. We just saw Hank Aaron honored at the AllStar Game, and they did a really great job of capturing 715 at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. Now the Braves play at Truist Park on Tuesday night. I thought that was really cool, really emotional. Baseball can do that. Just bring you back nostalgically so easily. And Hank, I just have an undying respect for Hank Aaron. I can't say enough things about him. You take away 755 home runs, he still would have had 3,000 hits. This was a man that, after he was done in Atlanta, went back to Milwaukee, where he began his career with the Milwaukee Braves before they moved to Atlanta, and was a member of the Milwaukee Brewers. And that final season, 1976, there you see him. He hit his final home runs. He was a guy that became the ultimate ambassador for baseball. He was warm and welcoming. He was smart and strong. He dealt with a lot of abuse and a lot of ugly abuse, and was a gentleman and was an icon and was a hero through it all. He was undeniable. He was undefeatable. He was just, if you grow up loving a ball player, you hope he's a fraction of Hank Aaron as a human, as a person, as a man, and then as a ball player. So I just saw that today. I was searching through this date in sports history. I always find that to be good inspiration for sports zen. And I thought, oh, wow. On this date, 76, so nearly 50 years ago, was Hank Aaron's last ever home run, and he was a Brewer. So I found this photo. I thought, oh, that's a cool photo. Got the sun shining down, mid-70s. Got the red pipes in between seats, which is just so old school. You never have that anymore nowadays. And Hank Aaron at 45 years old, or however old he was at that point in time, still could mash, still could mash. Just really cool. By the way, I love this comment. P squared. Look at that crowd. Now when we go to the games, we're wearing pajamas. Exactly. Sweatpants. Jerseys. Oh, this is a good suggestion. A DA bong from the merch store. Well, great picture for sure. And Hammer and Hank is an all-time legend. So wanted to give you a little sports zen on your Sunday night. All right, that's going to do it for us here on the show. This was really cool, and great job by Jack. That is not an easy job that he stepped into, man, but he did a whale of a job, and he is welcome back anytime. So really cool to have you guys all aboard and welcoming him in. We will have a brand new Q&A this week, a long-form conversation, and with it will come your exclusive member-only series, The Raw Feed. If you're looking forward to that, we are just a couple of weeks away now from the next Ask DA Anything on August the 8th, and I will see you tomorrow morning on the Mothership Connecting on Sirius XM. So everybody, thank you so much for a wonderful Sunday night. Have yourself a tremendous rest of your weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Raise a cocktail. Praise to the good stuff. Cheers to the good stuff. Gratitude for the good stuff. And we will see you in the morning, all right, on Watch D.A Live on Sunday nights, on the YouTube channel throughout the week, and on weekday mornings on Sirius XM's Mad Dog Sports Radio. All right, everybody, we will see you next time. We are now signing off.